I hadn't prepared anything, and I wasn't thinking of anything,
When
but
has that ever stopped you, Don?
yeah, the reminiscing did bring something to mind because so we had Scardina for calculus,
Hmm.
and I think many of you remember how rigorous and tough he could be, and how like intolerant in some ways of he just like didn't suffer us any kind of foolishness. So he assigned us a derivation or an integration or something that was very, very difficult. It required a unbelievable imagination of what to substitute to break it into a form that could be divided so that the parts could be uh, integrated and then put back together. It was a complicated mess, and I'm not sure anybody came back the next day having done it right. And then and remember, we were supposedly the cream of the crop. There were some very brilliant people in that class. So he says, "All right," and he starts going through it on the board. And at some point in the middle of this, and we're going, and we're like, he's done this like imaginative substitution for one of the terms that allows it to be broken down some, and we're marveling at that. And then he's working along, and he turns around and he says, "What do you suppose would happen if we were taking this limit to zero instead of to one?" And I said, it would go to zero. And he nodded like, right, like, okay, somebody's paying. And then he went back and started, and somebody said, "Wait, how did he know that?" And I had like turned my attention away, or was, and I didn't like hear the response. Suddenly the whole class is laughing, and I'm going, like, what just happened? So I had to catch that up later. And he goes on through the thing, and the class ends, and we get outside, and I asked somebody, what what happened? Was it? And he had said, what would happen if instead of trying to solve this limit for going to zero, it went to one, or which whatever, whatever way it was. They and I had answered, and he just, and somebody asked him, how did he know that? He just went, smart, and turned back to the proof. Well, I had missed it, but everybody thought it. Most people thought it was funny. Others, but whoever, regardless of that, Tom Haywood came charging up to me and said, "How did you know that?" And Tom Haywood was one of the most brilliant of all of us, who went on to have the one of the most astonishing careers. He says, "How how did you know that?" I said, "Well, while I was trying to solve that, I wondered what would if it would give me any insight if I saw what it went into the other thing, the other direction, and so I worked through it, and it turns out that solution is actually trivial." And Haywood's looking at me with like, he's just going, "You solve differential equations for fun?"